The 12th day of August 2025 it is, and if you don't know, it's the International Youth Day today, and that is where we will be theming our discussion. We'll be talking about everything that surrounds the youth, including governance, including opportunities, and also politics as well. I have a rich panel here to discuss that, but allow me just to point out some of the other things that we are going to be looking at. Over 80 people have died in the last 1 week. We also need to take a check on our roads. 80 people in a week, it's a big number. And of course, Chan iko KBC. Chan is in Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And if you have been watching or following up KBC Channel 1, your true sports partner, together with a number of radio stations who are actually beaming this important sports affair right here in our country. And of course, for the advertisers, guys, are also a perfect opportunity to place your products. You've seen the likes of Elgon Kenya, the agriculture lead, being one of the guys that are partnering with us, and others. Also, we are also beseeching companies as well. This is your opportunity, and this, of course, is an opportunity for Kenyans. We are cheering Harambee Stars one match at a time. As of now, they have already raked in 2.5 million shillings each. President William Ruto yesterday giving them more promises in regards to Chan 2024. We'll also be touching on that, and allow me now to rope in my very rich panel of experts, beginning from my immediate left, from where we have Peter Mutua, who is the head of the delivery unit for the Nairobi County Government. Karibu sana, Bwana Mutua.
Thank you very much.
And we were here with you before, Chan. You'll be telling us what is happening so far, and how, as Nairobi, we're still welcoming very many tourists. Of course, we're expecting the semi-finals and the finals to be very packed. Just next to Mheshimiwa, we have another youthful advocate of the High Court and also a governance and leadership expert, my very good friend Shadrack Wamboi. Wamboi, karibu sana.
Thank you, Troy, and it's always a pleasure to be here.
Thank you so much. Just next to him, another youth, Advice Mundalo. We've been discussing a number of issues right here in regards to matters youth, and I'm quite sure you have some good advice for the youths.
Definitely.
But guys, first things first, allow me to just point this out. Today being the International Youth Day, the theme for this year is local youth actions for the SDGs, that's the Sustainable Development Goals, and beyond. And before we delve into matters youth, Mheshimiwa, you have seen 80 people in the last 1 week. We're talking about the road accidents, and this is a conversation that we've had, I believe, for the longest time. But August, more or less in Kenya, always a dark month when it comes to accidents. I would like to pick your mind in regards to what exactly is happening.
First of all, may the departed souls rest in eternal peace, and condolences to those who lost their loved ones. And I dare say that you get what you confess. As Kenyans, we have always confessed that August is a dark month. But for me, I am all minus one. That all can say is a dark month minus myself, because you possess what you confess. But over now, practically speaking, it is so sad that 80, because even one is too many, and 80, then 80 is the whole world, because we're losing 80, and we are in the middle of the month, and now we are posting in terms of statistics that we have lost 80 human beings, 80 Kenyans, 80 hopeful people, 80 future, 80 present, and 80 everything. So we have not just lost a number that is called 80, we have lost human beings. And I wish the authorities could do something that this comes to an end. The authorities, in the sense that the Ministry of Transport, Interior, and whoever is concerned, that we do not have to come here. Instead of starting on a high note, our spirits sink. And when they sink that low, by the time we pick them up, it's going to be a lot of work, because loss in Kisumu is a loss in Makueni, loss in Kitui is a loss in Kwale. So it's sad. That's the only thing that I can say. Yeah.
Wamboi, I'm looking at 80 people in the last 1 week, and NTSA and the police, each and every time, they on the forefront to ensure that we don't have these numbers on the roads. But unfortunately, looking at the last 1 week has been quite dark for Kenya in our roads.
Well, please just permit me to first send my very sincere condolences to the to the families that have lost their loved ones. I know too well that, you know, with the loss of a loved one, it's a defining moment. It's a defining moment in the sense that if he were the breadwinner, you know, it will go and affect almost everybody in their family. So it is a very sad state of affairs. I know also too well that in you know, this month and the previous month, we've lost a lot of people in this country. And from the neighborhood where I come from, at Olkeri, there has been a call on our preachers to pray for our nation, to pray for our country, because some of these deaths are, you know, they're leaving a very big and indelible mark in the society. So for that reason, I join Mheshimiwa here in wishing the families well, in praying that this should be the end. Again, the month of August is usually a condemned month in this country. It's so, you know, when you look at the past with the benefit of hindsight, it will tell you that more often than not, we always, you know, prepare for the worst when it comes to the month of August. More often than not, you will hear people say that this is the month that you also lose a very influential person. So we've not lost one. I'm praying we don't lose one. But this is a month where we have lost so many of our very influential people in this country. Again, I want to also send my very sincere condolences to the family of MC Full Stop, MC Full Stop, John Maina. John Maina at some point influenced my life, and he also died on the very first day of this month. So it's a very sad state of affairs. The youth in this country who've been, you know, reggae fanatics know too well that he has influenced their lives. And he died out of, you know, the consequences that come with heavy drinking. He had spoken about it. I am hoping that as we speak about the youth agenda, that message, the message that was shared by MC Full Stop, aka John Maina, that message is going to be embraced by the youthful generation of this country. That we are going to stay clear out of, you know, drug abuse. We are going to avoid the temptations of always taking liquor and making, you know, the taking of alcohol as a culture in itself. So I think if we change that thing, because most of these accidents, if you want to, you know, just look very closely, some of these accidents could and can be avoided. Some of them happen because of, you know, some lapses from the driver, some lapses from even pedestrians. You know, things happen, and within a fraction of a second, we've lost 10, we've lost 1, we've lost 1 too many. Thank you.
It's a good thing that you pointed out in regards to also the taking of alcohol and drugs. That, of course, that's something that also the youth are grappling with, and we'll be looking at that as well. And on my far right, Advice Mudalo, apologies, I was not able to introduce you as the managing partner of 2 Cents Leadership Institute.
No problem.
Apologies for that. And also joining us on your screen is the lovely lady Susan Thuku, who will be handling the sign language interpretation for this discussion. But I also would like to weigh in on the road accident. We are going to be having a candid conversations with all the stakeholders involved, because this is something that we really can't sustain. 80 deaths, unfortunate, in 1 week.
First of all, thank you very much for having me here. I understand that you might have been too used to my role at the Jubilee Party.
Yes.
Now, just to speak about the accidents, I think it is obvious to all of us that 1 life lost is already a life too many. And looking at 80 lives, to me, I looked at it, and it was very disastrous. It was extremely disastrous, and this has not just happened just this time. We have had several other instances where we've been able to lose a huge number of people through these road accidents and road carnage. But then to be able to deal with this issue, we really need to look into the root cause of the problem. I think it is always easier to just lump the blame on one person, or call for intervention maybe from God. But be that as it may, I think we also have to look at the root cause of some of these problems. Because what is the training that our drivers are going through today? Me and you know that today we are living in a country where people can be able to get driving licenses using money than skill. And that is part and parcel of the problem that we are having. So we must be able to go down to the root cause. Let's the drivers. There was a time when I saw NTSA wanted to retrain drivers or something like that, but then it disappeared somewhere because of politics. But I think we need to go down to the root cause. Let us start from how we are training our drivers, how our roads even look like. You saw that roundabout actually. It actually doesn't look good. It looks like a death trap. So, and I'm sure maybe we'll be having such kind of cases in many other parts of the country. So we don't need to wait until there is a problem, and then we now want to run and try to look for now how to address it at that point. I think it's important that government officials are able to have a keen look at all the roads. How do our roads look like? What is the driver experience? Who are the drivers on the road, especially the public transport vehicles and the people who are actually driving them? Because sometimes, as my colleague says, you can be able to get into a public transport vehicle and the driver is under influence. We've been able to see instances where the drivers would park their vehicles towards the end, and as they wait for the customers to get into the vehicle, they would be somewhere drinking before they come and then take them back to the CBD or take them to another trip. So those are some of the interventions that we really need to look at. We need to be very serious on that. We need to look at the problems with the excess. Because we're looking at some vehicles are supposed to carry 14 people. Some are carrying 21 people. Yeah. There was a time where in this country, it was almost impossible to see a vehicle that had carried excess passengers. But we have degenerated and gone back to the same. We must also look at, as nice as our matatu culture is, we must be able to have a thin line. There's a thin line between our matatu culture and the safety of the people. Because you get into some of the public transport vehicles and the music is as loud as something else. So you even wonder whether even the driver is able to actually concentrate on the road or not. So these are some of the things that we must be able to look at, and all of us must be sensitized, from those of us who are using the vehicles, the pedestrians on the street, the passengers and the drivers. So we must be able to have a wholesome approach and not a knee-jerk reaction that is most often unnecessarily political. Yeah.
I totally concur with your advice. More or less our conversations are centered on governance and leadership and politics.
Yeah.
Little do we do an audit of our roads. And allow me now to also introduce one of the panelists, Honorable Charles Ngusianguna, popularly known as Honorable CNN. He is the Mwingi West MP. Karibu sana Mheshimiwa.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, it's been a while. Yeah. Karibu sana. Now, before we even look at a number of issues that are touching on the youth, Mheshimiwa, I'm quite sure you also feel the pain that we are feeling as Kenyans in regards to the road accidents that we have witnessed, and especially in the last 1 week. In as much as we have seen a number of accidents, a spike in the month of August, 80 lives in 1 week is a little bit on the higher side, Mheshimiwa. I would like to pick your mind on that.
Let me take this opportunity by condoling the families who have lost their lives in recent cases of accidents. Secondly, I would like to say it's been really sad seeing all those accidents happening across the country. But I think we need to take the issues of NTSA in terms of training very seriously. Some of the drivers who have been driving our public vehicles, they don't even go through thorough training. Secondly, if they do, they are ignorant. They are not checked on a constantly basis, and that is why we have been witnessing this kind of accidents. And the other issue is the corruption happening in NTSA. Most of them end up being given driving licenses without going thorough in terms of who is supposed to drive a certain vehicle. Some of these matatus, and especially the buses we drive, most of these drivers, they even take hard substances, which sometimes can be reckless in their cases, and that is why we are witnessing this kind of things. And driver not being checked whether he's drugged or not. It's quite a procedure, and that is why I'm calling upon the Minister of to actually restore sanity in transport system. Most of these accidents are happening because of recklessness in terms of driving, overspeeding. Where are the speed governors nowadays? Are they being checked on regular basis? So this is some of the things Honorable Waziri Chirchir need to check on and ensure there is sanity in our road sector.
And just one word in regards to the road accident. I remember a couple of months here, I did interview Dr. Ochieng, who is the traffic commandant in the country. And one of the issues that he pointed out, Mheshimiwa, is that there's lack of political goodwill. In as much as what you talked about what happened to Alcoblo, talk about what the speed governance being being checked on a regular basis, and also generally you find a lot of politicians also in the transport industry, and they are not as well also observing those traffic rules.
Law, whether you are a politician, whether you are in judiciary, whether you are in executive, the law must be followed. Michuki effectively and efficiently implemented the system, and it worked perfectly. There is laxity. We've not seen any efforts of restoring this sanity in our road sector. And that is why I'm saying these issues of impunity, because you are a certain person in executive or in parliament or in political arena, you are not supposed to be treated. You are supposed to be treated in a special way. Let us all obey the law. The issue of blaming lack of political goodwill should not be arising here. Everybody is a Kenyan and must live within the law. And that is why I'm telling you, the Minister of Transport needs to be serious and stop blaming lack of political goodwill in this kind of situation. So I'm calling upon them to be very serious and implement the Michuki rules, and it will work effectively. No big fish in Kenya. We are all equal. We have to follow the law.
I totally concur. We really need to follow the law, and I appreciate that coming from a leader, that we should obey the law. It doesn't matter whether you're a leader or not. And still on this conversation, we'll be talking about unemployment and economic empowerment. We've seen some of that. Political and civic participation, education and skills development, governance, corruption, and also social inclusion for the youth. Again, today, we are celebrating International Youth Day. What have we done so far to ensure that the youth are included in a number of the things I've mentioned, including social and governance as well? I always say that last year during the Gen Z protest, it was a Damascus moment for the whole country, that we have to include even the youth in our discussion. And that is when I want to come to you, Mheshimiwa, and talk about how effective have been. We've seen a number of empowerment, the last one being, I think, over the weekend at State House. We've seen the Deputy President, the President, and also members allied to the ruling party initiate empowerment programs. Right here in Nairobi, we've seen them as well. I don't know whether Nairobi County has some of these empowerment programs, and if they have, we would like to hear them. And how effective has these initiatives been in addressing the issue or the challenge of unemployment, Mheshimiwa?
Well, I like the choice of your words, effective, and let me start with the effective.
Yeah.
These empowerment programs, they are just political, show. Because in real sense, today being the celebration of International Youth Day, which is now 25 years since it was established, of course, by United Nations, and the fact that is a serious matter. It behooves me to speak in a serious matter, and I put politics aside and other thoughts, because the youths are listening and their parents are listening. We need to come up with sustainable programs on how to empower, the youths. When I look back to support my argument, I got curious, and I wanted to know how we attained independence, the key players, and I went to Kapenguria 6. For those who have forgotten about Kapenguria 6, I went to Kapenguria 6 and I looked at them and their ages at that time, and they were 6 of them. Only 2, they were 50. One was 50, the other one was 55. And then the other 4, they were, one was 35, 31, 30, and then the other one was 28. When I looked at the statistics, because the numbers are there to look at the figures, and I looked at it, and to me that was 67%. 67% of the youths were represented in Kapenguria. I looked at our statistics in this country, and I looked at it and I found that 67 of our population, they are the youths. So if we treat youths like giving them some handouts, calling them for some, political rallies. Political rallies don't have to be just in the field, in Kamkunjo, elsewhere. A political rally can even take place in my compound. So we need to give them things that look like they are not well thought. Because if you, number one, not everybody is wired to do business. Sometimes, and that's the reason we find the Hustler Fund as issues, because we are dishing out money to people who are not wired to do business. We need to come up with sustainable programs, and sustainable programs, first of all, they start with equipping our youths with skills that they can use locally, skills that they can use internationally. In 1961, just 2 years to independence, we had the likes of Jomo Kenyatta, Paul Gay, Oginga, and the rest. When they were considering sourcing out for that time, KANU as a political party was a very powerful party, and they were sourcing out for a CEO. They went and brought Kibaki. At that time he was only 30, a youth, 31, because he had the skills. So first of all, before we just think of, because there's noise out there, and these needs go back to the leadership, and no, sometimes the things they do, they cause more harm than good. Because I read from some places that people are complaining, the beneficiaries of the goodies that were given on, I think on Saturday in State House, they were not the supporters of Kenya Kwanza system. I am watching from many groups that say, you have given our neighbors, you have given people who are opposing us, now they are the beneficiaries of this. So for me, bottom line, we need to listen to the youths. Sometimes the youths do not have people who are listening to them. And let me tell you, if all of us, like myself, for the purposes of justifying why I'm saying we must listen to the youths, I belong to Generation X. So, and sometimes when you do not listen to them, they have something they would have to. Do you think it was a coincidence that 67% of the Kapenguria 6 were youths? They were there because they had more say than the 3%. What does that mean? We should, as we interact with the youths, we should have embraced this spirit in ourselves. Maybe, we say, maybe they have something that is productive. Let us listen to them, and maybe they could be having other better ideas than what we have, so that what we are going to implement, it is a collective agreement between the youths and us.
You'll be telling us what Nairobi as a county is doing to empower the youth, but allow me just to switch to Mheshimiwa, because Mheshimiwa here has also pointed out something quite good. You see, they are being tied to matters politics, and we have seen some of the initiatives, the last one being last weekend. Mheshimiwa, I would like to pick your mind in regards to these economic empowerment programs, because you'll see during elections, allow me to use this example, you'll see Honorable CNN, tanks for the youths, to do some maybe some car wash business, branded Mheshimiwa CNN Mwingi West for Mwingi West MP. You'll see border as the same thing. We've even seen some being put on the shirts of some of the schools. I'd like you to pick your mind in regards to the economic empowerment programs that are currently underway, and do you thoroughly believe that this is the right way to go, Mheshimiwa?
First of all, there are many ways of killing a rat. Number one, you can give handouts in terms of money for youth to start business. And in my case, I've used Uwezo Fund as a good example on how you can empower youth. I remember and I recall very well in 2020, one of the youth I have, the youth group I have in one of the area called Gutan, I gave them 100,000. And right now, they have been using that money effectively and efficiently. They have been a success story. So it depends on when you give money to youth, what are they going to do? Some of them end up dividing the money and doing nothing. So it depends on the effort. Remember, if you are given money and you don't have a well-structured business proposal, it will not succeed. If you are given money and you don't have anything in plan actually, you are just there to do an ordinary business, you are going to fail. You have to make sure you have got a serious business proposal that is sustainable and that is practically profitable. Otherwise, you are going to fail it doesn't matter how much money you give. You can even give billions of shillings in terms of empowerment. But if there is no plan, you are not going to succeed. So I am calling upon the youth across the country to make sure before you embark on this exercise of empowerment, let us have proper and serious business proposals that you are into detail and you can execute it effectively and in a profitable way, and we are going to succeed as a country. But if we just wake up one day and just go for empowerment, dish out money to groups, and these groups are not structured, they don't have common vision and mission, it doesn't matter how much you are going to give, you are going to fail. So I think I can encourage the government to continue with these issues of youth empowerment, but because it depends, but they have to train people first on how to use that money. There's a lot of money in place. We have got Uwezo Fund, which is interest-free. Like in my constituency, the 10 million I'll give in December, but I have to give the right groups. I train these groups first, the women groups and youth groups first, before giving out money, so that they can know what they are going to do. But if you give money haphazardly, you are not going to succeed as a country.
And still on the same, because you are a legislator, as Parliament, have you queried the source of this money, or are you planning to query the source of this money? Because I'm looking at the budget, there wasn't any appropriation for this kind of key projects.
We only wait for Auditor General reports. So at the moment, we don't know the source of the funds, where it is coming from. But we will only wait for this financial year, what auditor is going to give us. And we will query the different states and departments where the money has been misused. So we can't know exactly where the money is coming from. But out of curiosity, the President and the entire entourage, the members of Parliament who have participated in this empowerment program, they have been saying it is a personal contribution. So if they are in business and well and good they are giving out, I have got no issues, provided the money land to the right groups that can execute a proper business proposal. Yes.
Wamboi, I'm coming to you because I'm looking at some of this empowerment, and I would like to pick your mind in regards to what the government is doing to empower the youth. And being a youth yourself, I'm looking at what you've done at the courts. I've worked as a court reporter for about 4 or 5 years, and you began Sheria Mtaani, which is more or less giving pro bono services to people who cannot more or less be able to, afford the costs. This is more or less like empowerment, but you are not dishing out any money. Yeah, and what we have seen in the government side is that they are giving out a number of things, and also leaders. We've seen MPs, we've seen the deputy president also give out borders, giving out sewing machines. Mheshimiwa is supporting, but saying that we really need to have a structured way of training first before we can even dish out this money.
Well, thank you, Troy. Now, I mean, let us face it. The bulk of the Kenyan population, or even the population in the world, is the youthful population. These are people between the age of 18, as defined in our constitution, to the age of 35 years. So this means that indeed a government will reasonably, under those circumstances, be more, compelled to support the youth, because they are the future of their country, they're the future of the continent, they're the future of the world. In addition to that, it is important to also underscore that the Constitution itself, compels the government to ensure that they put in measures to protect this youthful population. We have classes of individuals that the Constitution has said protect this kind of individuals. We have the youth, we have the elderly, and of course, the marginalized in our community. So these are a group that the Constitution has said, well, with the benefit of us, looking at our past, there is the need for us to give a discriminative preference to this kind of population. So to that extent, then it is not for nothing that you will see the government coming up with proposals and even sometimes wooing the young population, because they also have the majority of the votes if we are to go to an election. One thing I must concede, as it's said by Mr. Mutua here, is that these empowerments are being used as political tools to mobilize the youth around a certain political affiliation, or to give certain political allegiance, which is correct. But the truth of the matter is, politics is our life, and our lives is actually politics. Everything in this country, everything in the world is about politics. Politics has influenced the price of bread, the quality of education that our children are consuming, the kind of the roads that we are driving on, even the hospitals that we are accessing. Look at the machines that we have had to lease. Those are political decisions that have been made. So whichever way we want to look at it, it is politics at play. I must, on my part, say that there is nothing wrong with empowerment. In fact, most of us, what we are lacking as youths is the opportunity, that spark, so that we can shine, so that people can see what we are actually made of. But sometimes, well, this country, the youth of this country have been thrown into desperation, because opportunities are given to a privileged few. We have a certain class of people. We even have people who are aged 40, 50 years enjoying youthful positions. They are representing the youth, yet they are 50 years old. We have them even here in Bunge, Nairobi, the National Assembly. We everywhere we have these situations. But the truth of the matter is that a keen consideration needs to be given to the youthful generation. I agree with Mheshimiwa CNN that indeed, even while we have adopted this, the politics of philanthropy, because that is what we are doing. This politics of philanthropy is not bad, but if we do not put the correct measures in place, it means that we will be multiplying all the things that we are doing with zero. And every number multiplied by zero, even if it's 1 million, 10 million, the result is a zero. We need to focus on education and impacting skills on the youths. We are donating motorbikes. There is nothing wrong with that. Motorbikes have been a great source of employment in this country. Even myself, this morning, I used a motorbike to go to court. And then I used it to rush here. So it tells you that motorbikes have become very essential. These motorbike riders have become essential service providers. So what we need to do as a government, as a country, is number one, to focus on the skills of these riders of these motorbikes. We are donating motorbikes to people who do not have that driving license, that license. The government of the day has increased or bloated those fees that are chargeable at a time when someone is taking the insurance. We have these driving schools. The driving schools will charge an average of about 6,000 shillings for someone to be equipped with the skills. Then there will be about 2,000 or 1,500 shillings for someone to get that license. So it means for someone who depends on a hand-to-mouth activity, that they will have to ride a motorbike for the whole day, get 500 shillings, spare 300 shillings or 400 shillings to the owner, and then reserve a 100 shillings. Then telling someone to go to a driving school and to pay 6,000 shillings is quite on the very higher side. So I will be urging that the government, even while it has identified that the use of motorbikes is quite essential, and they are using it as a means of empowering the youth, let them first reduce the costs that a youth will incur to get equipped with the skills of driving that motorbike. Over and above that, there is a question about, Mheshimiwa CNN has mentioned it, you give me 10 billion, I become a drunkard 10 billion times. You understand? The education is also very important. Being a youth is a blessing and also a curse at a go. It's a double tragedy, oxymoronic if you want to mention. Because you are a youth, you have the time, you have the energy. Sometimes you do not have the money. Then when you get that money, the handouts that the politicians give us, you have the money, you have the energy, you have the time, but you do not have the education of using this money. You cannot multiply this money. So what do? You get what is called Sharia Sherehe. That is what we call it nowadays. So you will be parting a luta. It's called a luta. You will be parting from Friday. Continua from Friday, or actually Thursday, because the Thursdays are reserved for reggae. So from Thursday, you will be parting all the way to Monday. So Monday, you will be nursing hangovers, and Tuesdays, waiting for Wednesday and Thursday. So it becomes a curse altogether. So we just need to also educate our youth. We tell them that indeed money is a tool that should be used to transform your life. This money is even drawn the image of the father of President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. But again, Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta wakes up every morning to look for money that is drawn his father's image. So this money is not your permanent tool, but you need to use it creatively to ensure that you secure your future, that we invest it wisely, that we get into activities that will be generating money. And when we are in a group, let us use that money not to divide it. You're given 100,000 shillings. The first thing that you do is share yangu, share yangu, nipatie loot yangu. Then at the end of it all, what you could have done with the 100,000 shillings at a go, you can't do it because you have 100 shillings or 2,000 shillings that you end up now squandering.
And still picking from what Shadrach has mentioned and advice, I would like to pick your advice in regards to the informal sector, because more or less these empowerments are centered on informal sectors like the Juakali sector, the border, the sewing machines we've seen, the bikes that we've seen, the car wash, what policies could be implemented to better support and formalize this? We have talked about, Mheshimiwa CNN has mentioned, Mheshimiwa Mutua has mentioned, and even Wakili has mentioned that we really need to have a structured one. If you give me, to avoid the looters and the mismanagement of the money. And also another thing, to avoid the issue of you're given 100,000. We saw some women, I think it was in some parts in Kisii, talking about how much each one has gotten. But they didn't tell us how much they had gotten as a group and how many they are and what they had planned to do with this money. First and foremost, I would like to pick your mind in regards to these economic empowerment programs currently being spearheaded by some of the government officials we've seen.
Thank you very much. I think first of all we need to look at what motivates the empowerment programs. What makes politicians, what makes members of parliament, what makes the president, cabinet secretaries, and all these leaders do these empowerment programs. We usually have a narrative that, in my view, is spinned more as a media narrative, where it makes it look as though it is the political class and the elected people that are interested in the empowerment programs. I would assure you that the empowerment programs are actually people-driven. It is the people that drive the politicians to come to do these empowerment programs. It is not actually the other way around. The politicians actually don't like doing them because it gets money out of their pockets. But the reality of the ground is that when Honorable CNN is on the ground every weekend, it is him facing the heat of the young people there, asking him what he is doing for them. And in that regard, he has then to come up with a program that then addresses the essential needs of these people on the ground. So that is the first reality. And the reason why this is able to be done, the problem with it is that it cannot be long-term, because it cannot be sustainable. Because we cannot be able to know, after the Honorable CNN has said he'll be doing, he's giving 10 million in December. If in the next election he's running for Senate or he's becoming a governor, the member of parliament who comes in will also have to give that 10 million. The question is, where will this member of parliament get it from? Because they don't know where CNN got his 10 million from. Because essentially, it's highly possible that that is not CDF, it is not what. It might be a way in which he is using his network or whatever to be able to mobilize this. So it now boils down to the abilities of the leader in office, the personal abilities of this leader in office to be able to mobilize these funds. And that is what makes it a scheme that is not sustainable. But then, can I be able to blame the leaders for it? I don't think so. Because as a leader, you must respond to the needs of the people. Because you are the one who is there with them every day. And then we, the people also, every time we are asking these fundamental questions, we avoid asking the questions to the right places, but only ask the questions to the political class. And that's why the political class is the one that is pushed to respond. Now, we have organs that are systemic in nature that should be able to address some of these issues. When we look at national government, we have the National Youth Enterprise Fund. Yeah? So, but then rarely do we see anyone putting them to task to ask them, what are you actually doing? Because the Youth Enterprise Fund, I think, was set up in the President Kibaki time, essentially to be able to deal with the youth question. We have the Women Enterprise Fund that was set up to deal with the women question. So we have so many, we have the Hustler Fund now that is there. So these are the systemic organs that have been put in place to be able to handle the question of these young people and marginalized groups, to be able to help empower them. But the question is, how far are they? How many times have you hosted them here to be able to tell you what they are actually doing? And it's because of their failure to be able to be out there that puts politicians on the receiving end and then makes the political class have to bear the bulk of then responding to this need. And also the political class now needs to put these questions in the parliament to ensure that these organs that we have set in place are able to be functional. Because the question is, why should we be able to have them if they are not functional? I can assure you, if you go to, and actually just yesterday, I received a request from one of the young people. You see, and the young person was telling me he has gotten an LPO from one of the NGOs to be able to do a supply, but they do not have the money to be able to do this. And I was able to send this to one of the directors at the Youth Enterprise Development Fund and tell them, why can't you guys fund this young person? Because part of what you're supposed to do is help young people finance these kind of things. But they couldn't be able to do that. They say, you know, it's a bureaucratic process and all that. You see, now some of these are now systemic issues that now make politicians have to step in and then make the people now ask the questions to the wrong people. So the question is, these organs that we have, we don't have a problem with the systems actually. We actually have them. The question is, are they doing what they are supposed to do? Are they being followed up enough to be able to do what they are supposed to do? We have so many organs dealing with youth issues, including the National Employment Authority, including NITA, that is supposed to offer internships to the same young people. But the question is, most of the time, especially as young people, when we are placing our demands and our questions, we rarely want to direct it to the institutions that are responsible. Most of the time, we only want to direct the challenges of young people only to the political class. And I think that is where sometimes we get it wrong. And that's why I have a problem with now the Ministry of Youth Affairs and the State Department. Because you look at it, even on this International Youth Day, and the celebration I think is happening in Kakamega, an ordinary young person on the street is not even aware that today is International Youth Day. An ordinary young person is totally unaware of this. So the State Department must stop reducing youth issues to events. Because that is what they do. Youth issues are not events where you put together some young people, then you do a speech. they must be able to tell us those systems that have been put in place by government, those parastatals, those organs that have put in place, before we complain about what a member of parliament is giving, before we complain about the empowerment program, before we want to raise a complaint about what the president is doing, can the State Department of Youth Affairs be able to be accountable and tell the young people of this country, because they are the ones mandated with that responsibility, on this International Youth Day, can they give us the data from the National Youth Council? Can they give us the data from the National Employment Authority? Can they be able to talk about the Youth Enterprise Development Fund? Can they talk about the Women Enterprise Development Fund? Can they be able to talk about NITA? Because those are the institutions that we have to be able to handle these issues. Unfortunately, we don't hear much from them, and we too are to blame because we also don't ask much from them. Most of the time our questions are only on the political class, and that's why the political class must respond, and the only way they can respond therefore is the empowerment programs.
All right, and Mheshimiwa, in Parliament you have a caucus for youthful members of Parliament, and we would like to know what exactly you are doing to bring in even more of the young people, and especially when it comes to the by-elections that we have, and also when it comes to the general election. As you marinate on that question, allow me to, first of all, to cross over to the organizing secretary of CHAN, who is giving a press briefing in regards to the sanctions by CAF. That's Nicholas Musonye. Let's first of all listen in.
Stadium, you watch football, you go home happily. I want to commend our spectators, the way they leave the stadium peacefully, which is very good. They should be coming like that and go the way they have been doing. I have not had any incident along the way when they are leaving the stadium, but the bad behavior has been witnessed when they are forcing their way into the match. In that regard, we have told our security forces to be more alert, strong, and ensure that no one will enter the stadium without a ticket. It will not be accepted. The Minister of Interior, working closely with us, will ensure that we protect our people. We reinforce the security because our reputation is at risk, is at stake. We don't want to compromise our reputation. We want Kenya to remain the beacon of hope, order, and discipline south of Sahara. We are known for discipline and order. CHAN was the best way to demonstrate that spirit. We have demonstrated our resilience, our pride, and I'm proud because the people who have come to stadium this time are young people, and we are proud of it. We want to see more discipline and more order during the coming 2 matches before we reach the quarterfinals, or the Sunday match. So we want to appeal to our people to be responsible, not to come to stadium without a ticket. We shall open the gate at the right time, and we shall have the tickets on sale at the right time. We want things to be in order. We want to uphold discipline and order in the next coming match. We don't want any sanctions to affect our federation. Our federation has so many problems financially. If we lump a lot of fines on them, they will suffocate. That has happened 3 times. We don't want that to happen again. We want to see order and discipline on Sunday. Our police will be on duty, alert, and to ensure that no one misbehaves on Sunday. While we commend our fans again and again for their good support for Harambee Stars, we want to see more order and discipline. We have said don't come with vuvuzelas, don't come with whistles, don't come with drums. They still do it. That's a violation. And those attitudes attract penalties to FKF. When you whistle, the referee is whistling, you are confusing people. So please, our members, our spectators, respect the rules of the game. I am sure you will help us also as the media to educate our people. We want our people to know that football is a big industry. The federation is trying to bring back football to where it was in the 80s. Let us not destroy it. Let us not destroy it. The government has done everything to put everything in place. Good stadia, good training grounds, environment that is good. Let us uphold it. I believe President Hussein has a lot to say, because at the end of CHAN, football will still be played. So he has a lot at stake as a federation. It's a lot at stake that will affect football in this country if it is mishandled by our spectators. We don't expect that to continue from Sunday. We want to thank our supporters also for even coming to Njue Stadium where Kenya is not playing. The stadium is full. Nyayo is full, Kasarani is full. That is good spirit. We want to encourage our youth to behave well and attend all these matches in good spirit. Discipline and order is important. Thank you. President Kami.
Chairman LOC, CEO LOC, members of the Secretariat and committee chairs and vice chairs present, members of the Fourth Estate, good morning. You'll allow me first to just reiterate what the chairman has said through the official statements that I will read, and then we'll be able to maybe take a few questions after that. And I will also speak to the future of Kenyan football after the official statement. Kenya's local organizing committee for the Total Energies CAF Africa Nations Championship Pamoja 2024 wishes to sincerely thank you, the fans, for the passionate support you have shown the Harambee Stars during the ongoing tournament. Your energy has been invaluable in driving our team to the heights never witnessed before. We would also like to thank most sincerely His Excellency the President, Dr. William Samoei Ruto, and the government of the Republic of Kenya for the unwavering support in motivating our team and supporting the tournament in general. However, as we celebrate this unprecedented success and on and off the field of play, we must address recent unfortunate incidents of crowd trouble that our collective unbridled excitement has visited on some of the matches at the Kasarani Stadium. To ensure the safety of all attendees, the smooth running and success of the tournament, and to maintain the envious reputation of Kenyan football, we call on all supporters to strictly observe the following safety measures. Number one, you are advised to purchase match tickets only from authorized online vendors, as online only e-tickets will be the valid form of entry and no printed versions. This is so important. In the last couple of games, we witnessed a lot of forgeries. We witnessed a lot of fake tickets being put into the market. So please only buy tickets from the official platforms that we have provided, or the official platform that has been provided, the official vendor of the tickets. Once the tickets are sold out, please watch the game from the comfort of your home or in your favorite social joint and cheer our national team from there. Kindly do not come to the stadium if you do not hold a valid digital ticket. This is so critical. If you do not hold a valid digital e-ticket that you have bought on the official platform, please do not come to the stadium. Number two, you're encouraged to arrive at the stadium on match day at least 5 hours before kickoff with your ticket ready on your mobile phone for quick verification. Don't wait for last minute. If you're trying to come to the stadium at 2 o'clock, if the game is at 3, for example, you're too late. Please come to the stadium early, get your seat. There's plenty of entertainment. Come comfortably, sit comfortably, watch the game comfortably. Come very early. And thirdly, everyone must follow all security guidelines and instructions from event officials at all times. Please follow the direction of the stewards, of the security personnel, and everybody on the ground as you are directed. This enables free flow of people in and out of the stadium, and it guarantees your safety and security. Ladies and gentlemen, my fellow Kenyans, the future of Kenyan football now depends on our collective responsibility and cooperation. Continued security breaches risk attracting severe sanctions from the relevant authorities, sanctions that will ultimately deny Kenyan fans the chance to enjoy such events in the future and erode the gains that we have already achieved in the recent past. Why do you want to destroy the gains that we have made? Why do we want to set ourselves back 10, 15 years? And we have come such a long way to fix our local football. So I urge you, please, let us cooperate and let us ensure we continue to succeed together. We definitely value the enthusiasm of the fans, but let's do it within the rules of the game. This is so critical for all of us. We are also making arrangements to set up official fan zones where supporters who might not have an opportunity to come to the stadium to watch the Harambee Stars final group match against Zambia this Sunday on August 17th in a safe and controlled environment. Details of these exciting fan zones will be shared shortly as we continue to make the relevant preparations. Let us work together to ensure that Kenya continues to host major tournaments and showcase our passion for the game in the right way. And for me and my team at the Federation, of course, we are deeply concerned about the fines that we are receiving every day after every match. And this will set us back. And it's very saddening that we will have to go back to the drawing board now and look at ways to raise resources that we had not even planned for, to pay the fines that we had not planned for. So it is my appeal to all Kenyans out there to, of course, support the national team, cheer our national team on Sunday. But if you're coming to the stadium, please come with a valid ticket. If you do not have a ticket, kindly watch it from home. We cannot overemphasize this particular point. I also want to take this opportunity to thank the members of the LOC for their cooperation, for their work, for their effort in making sure that all the other games have been successful, for our members of the security committee for the efforts and work that they have put in over the last couple of months to ensure that you are all safe and secure during this tournament. Let us cooperate with them. You will see a difference on Sunday. We want to assure you there will be a difference this Sunday in terms of how we will manage the game. And I want to urge also members of the Fourth Estate that you are here today, that are here today, help us with passing out the message and communicating to the general public that it is only through cooperation and through collaboration amongst all of us that we will achieve the desired objectives. The Harambee Stars is performing very well, and you can see the performance of the national team. Please, let us not put that at risk. Let us not deny them victory because of the fan trouble that we've had over the last couple of games. So today, we make a pledge, all of us together, that it comes to an end. And after CHAN, there's also Kenyan football. There is Kenya Premier League coming the next September that is going to kick off again the new season. You've got other competitions, leagues and competitions that will be taking place. We're preparing for AFCON. My fellow Kenyans, we have to get this right. We have to get it right so that we become the football powerhouse that we once were. And this requires hard work. It requires us realigning ourselves. It requires us to readjust. It requires us to have discipline. It requires us to, again, work together to be able to achieve the collective objectives, which is to make Kenya successful. You've seen how Kenyans are excited about the performance of the national team. So I urge you to now inculcate a new culture, a culture of discipline, a culture of coming to the football stadia early, a culture of maintaining peace, a culture of decorum, and a culture that will help us grow our football. And with those many remarks, I want to say thank you very much, and looking forward to the big game on Sunday. Asanteni sana.
Good. You have questions?
Yes.
Amen.
Maybe through a bullet, you will see the media house and then you ask the question.
That has been a live event there. Nicholas Musonye there, the organizing secretary for Chan, and also Hussein Mohammed, the FKF president there, reacting to the ban that now CAF gave us, or talking about 27,000 fans out of the 48,000 that Kasarani Stadium can hold. Remember, this is because of the unruliness that has been witnessed in the first game and also on the Sunday game, and the chaotic scenes that we witnessed. Now, CAF has talked about 27,000 fans at Kasarani. Mheshimiwa is talking about living for a committee, so we're going to pick your mind in regards to that. And also, as I had mentioned, you are a member of a caucus for the youthful MPs in Parliament. What exactly are you doing to empower the youth? I see the president is in Kakamega. My producer, Wasolo, informs me that the president is already in Kakamega for the International Youth Day. Before you leave, Mheshimiwa.
Yesterday, I would like to congratulate the youth who showed up in Parliament, actually. We had a mock parliament for youth yesterday, and we did all the issues, electing the speaker, electing majority leader, minority leader, and even attended the committees. But that was mock parliament, and they did very well. We had a conversation, and we picked so many potential candidates 2027 who are youthful, and they can actually win parliamentary seats and also the county assembly seats. And I would like to encourage the youth. Personally, when I was elected the first time, I was only 32 years old, and I have maneuvered and gotten re-elected again. So it is doable, provided you are going to tell the people the practical solutions to their problems. Provided you are not going to stick to the divisive politics. Provided you are going to tell people what you are going to do to change their lives without lying, without giving them false information, you can make it. Be frank, be honest, be fair. Anything that is possible, just promise them, but do it. If you don't do it, it is going to backfire for you. Like, for example, we have John Paul, who won elections without giving any tokens to electorates.
And that's the way to go.
They listened to him. They saw how big-hearted he is and how honest he is. And right now, he is now in Parliament second time. If youth can take that path and follow what Toto and John Paul did, I can tell you, we can fill up 70% of members of Parliament who are under 35, because they are the majority. 75% of the population in Kenya right now is youthful. I'm calling upon the youth, let us listen to all young parliament aspirants who wants to be in National Assembly and county assemblies, and you are going to take over. But remember, you have to choose people who are learned and with good characters.
Mheshimiwa Charles Ngusia Nguna, popularly known as Honorable CNN, who is the Mwingi West MP and also a member of the caucus for the youthful members of Parliament, and you have heard that indeed the youth can make it, the likes of Toto, the likes of Mwirigi, the likes of Charles Ngusia Nguna, who is doing his second term, and it is possible. Let's take a quick commercial break, but when we come back, we now tilt from empowerment now to matters governance, leadership, and politics for the youth. Remember, it's the International Youth Day.
tuhesabu kwa ajili ya kusherekea fasili na asili ya soka barani Afrika, ligi za ndani na magwiji wasiotambulika.
Mangeni Alvin anaichanja ndani, uzuri David!
Michuano ya CAF ya mataifa ya Afrika 2024 ni njia ya kuzindua kupanua mtandao wa wachezaji ulimwenguni. Timu itakayoshinda itazawadiwa dola za Marekani milioni 3.5 pamoja na kujivunia kulinyanyua kombe hilo. Pata manufaa zaidi kutoka kwa CHAN 2024 mubashara na kipute cha kipekee kwenye runinga ya KBC Channel 1, mwenzio wa dhati michezoni.
Are you a talented artist? Or are you passionate about a topic you want to discuss? But money can be very hard to find for an upcoming artist. Don't worry, Studio Mashinani has got your back. Sign up on ajira.co.ke to book a session with your music and video producers across the country. Work on your music, jingles, spoken words, and even podcasts to realize your dream. All for free. Studio Mashinani, Radani Talent.
Nataka ku-urge Kenyans wajitokeze kwa wingi wa support Harambee Stars, sababu sisi ndio host na Kenya tuna need the 12th man so that to support the boys wa perform vizuri in CHAN and hashtag CHAN iko KBC.
Welcome back to KBC News Check. Just in case you joined us, my name is Njue and have a panel here that is helping us drive the youth agenda. If you do not know or you're not aware that today is the International Youth Day under the theme Local Youth Action for the SDGs and beyond, for the Sustainable Development Goals and beyond. And looking at our country right now, I say last year was a Damascus moment for the country, and the youth since last year have started to make their impact, to make themselves felt. And that is a discussion that we are looking at. And before the break, Mheshimiwa Charles Ngusi Anguna, CNN, has just left us for a committee that is supposed to be attending right now. But in his place, Kidi Mwaga, who is the convener, Interparties Youth Forum, and he's also a columnist. Karibu sana.
Thank you so much, my brother. And
before then, we also had Mheshimiwa Peter Mutua, we had Wakili Shadrack Wambui, and also Advice Mundalo. Just to, before we throw you into the deep end, guys, we have seen that when it comes to matters leadership, and Mheshimiwa has said that they are now mentoring, in as much as they are youthful, they are also mentoring others leaders as well. Yesterday they had a session where they even elected the governors. They said, just to show the young generation what exactly is in store. Mheshimiwa, I'm looking at Nairobi as a county, and you being the head of the delivery unit, there are a number of youth programs that are there. Those are some of the positions that the county should be taking to mentor these young people, not only on matters leadership, but also on governance. What exactly are you doing, or what is your view in regards to how we should expose our young people to matters governance and leadership?
I will respond this way. That is not my view, but what I know in Nairobi County, because I'm part of the city leadership. If you look people in terms of the executive and the number of people that are youthful, right from CECs and chief officers, the number meets the threshold of 67% in terms of representation. When you go to the county assembly, youthful, apart from a few, like 3 or 4 out of the elected MCAs who are about 85 of in that city, 8 out of 85, less than 10 are above 40. Less than 10. So that, again, it meets the threshold. And then you go to the, like where I'm the head of service delivery, everybody that works under me, they are 40 and below. We every time when we are recruiting, filling, gaps, we make sure that we look at the age, in terms of generation this and that, to make sure that no one is left behind. But over and above, Nairobi County is structured in terms of leadership. I'm not talking about the geographical, county. I'm talking about the leadership. It's structured in the manner that we carry all of us along with us, but while considering different generations and demographic composition in the city, we carry all of us with us. And that's why Nairobi in such a manner is a vanguard. A vanguard carries all of us. The ones who are young, middle and the old. Because you cannot afford to dismiss people because of their age, if they have something in their minds. While you cannot give them all the positions because of their age, you must make sure that the position you give them, they are well able to execute the mandate that is on their table. So is the youth. We do not just pick people because they are youthful. None of them, especially in the secretary, has questionable skills and capacities.
Yeah, and I totally understand what you're talking about. I'm also looking at mentorship. You'll be telling us how you are doing that mentorship, because I'm quite sure being a head of a delivery unit and working in the most robust county in Nairobi, there are other leaders that are coming. And also I'll pick your mind in regards to the by-elections that are coming. How can the youths position themselves?
May I respond now?
That? Yes, yeah, kindly do.
You see, like, it starts with me. When I hear people make noise, there's garbage here, there's this, that, it starts with me. So I'll not point at people. I am in my small office as the head of service delivery unit. When I move, this service delivery unit is a unit that's not supposed to be all the times in, in City Hall, seated there and waiting for reports from the field officers, because that one you'll not be able to execute. You are mandated from a point of knowledge, so you must go to the field and have a feel what people are experiencing. Once in a while, I usually go to different places, and all the times I'm going there, I am accompanied on purpose by youthful officers so that they can learn what we do. Like, for example, I will pick a lady, I will pick a man, a female, a male. We go to the field and make sure that they see how things are done in the government, because I do not want our people will come after me. The only thing they know is about corruption. They know extorting money from the clients. No. So if you left them there and you start doing your things alone, you will not learn anything. So you must, mentorship is when you are there, people looking at you. You see, like, for example, while we are here, I do not know advice. Meeting advice for the first time today. Meeting Wakili Shedrack Wambui for the first time today, though I've seen them over the telecast, but I was not able to interact with them. They had the privilege of interfering in my space and watch them over the television without me having to question it. But I would ask them here now, when they saw me and when they started interacting with me, did they find that I'm inspiring? Because I'm their elder brother, and probably I don't know the age of Shentra, could be the age of my son in terms of the time I became an adult. Yes, quite enough.
He said he's 34.
Young enough to be my son in terms of my age. So I do not know whether I have one privilege that they don't have.
Yes.
That when I look at them, I see where I come from. Okay? And I know where I am. They are just imagining how they will be when they will be where I am. But I know both sides, where I am and where I was when I was at their age. I don't know whether they feel inspired, because if they don't feel inspired seated with me here and they even greeting me along the streets, then I need to go back to the drawing board and make sure that I adjust myself so that the youth, when they look at me, they feel inspired. So when I walk around with the people, and every time I must handle myself in a manner that inspires the youth in the right direction, in the right way. And most of the times, I will tell them, avoid quick gratifications. They look for quick solution, quick gratification. Okay?
Yes.
I tell them, no, you follow the process. I have an issue when people want to think that the laws are there for the sake of it. Because for wisdom or lack of it, they were set to guide us and to have a society that is cohesive, a society that is a society is one. So in terms of mentorship, we start with our own sections. You start with the people. You must make sure that we are not... and again, Nairobi, we have been able, this needs to go out there, that we are very keen that Nairobi, we do not just have an office. For example, it is automatic for a Kenyan when they hear Peter Mutuku Mutua to apportion me to where I come from. And you not make a mistake. Wamboi, you know where Wamboi comes from. His name is a little bit complicated because you do not know whether he's from Bukuzi, he's from Luoland, or something like that. But Wamboi, you know, it's naturally from the mountain, from the eastern. And for that reason, we have made it as a practice that Nairobi City County offices, we do not speak our mother tongue. Okay, like my office now, I'm the only person from Eastern. My driver is from another region, T-Girl from another region, Secretary from another region, and of course I have also the privilege of having some men around me, you know, with muscles just in case we go to the field. If you bring some nonsense, all of them, they are not from my region. So what I'm trying to say, we do not want this nonsense of tribalism in our offices. So if you came to Nairobi to my office, don't even dare speak to me in my mother tongue, because I not respond, because we are in the city. And one of the things that if we don't practice is making sure that we speak national language Kiswahili, because some of our kids don't even know our mother tongue. And this issue of I'm related to this or that, all of us are related to one to the other. Yes.
Yeah, Wamboi, I'm still on that mentorship question, because it's a good thing that Mheshimiwa has brought it up, and he's asked whether do you feel that you guys, he's mentoring you, because I feel more or less like between Mheshimiwa and you, because I'm just slightly over 10 years older than you are, but I totally identify with some of the issues that are affecting the youth, because I've been there, and I say I still look youthful. But when it comes to the ballot, everything changes. Let's look at 2022. Voter apathy. How many youths did not even register? Millions. How many youths did register but did not participate in the election? Millions. But how many youths were there to more or less, you know, carry placards, you know, following Mheshimiwa's, you know? Many were there. They were participating, but not exactly what we expected. So what can foster a vibrant and even a more participatory civic education and also politics that come with it?
Well, thank you, Troy. Now, first, let me begin by appreciating Mr. Mutua for his comfort. He is very inspiring. He's very calm, collected. He has his thoughts well organized. We rarely find kinds of these qualities with the current generation of our elders. He's also my cousin, you know.
I'm hoping he's the cousin that we know, not the political ones.
No. So while on there, in fact, we made some interaction with him. This is real cousin.
Okay.
It's not about the political rhetoric around. Real.
You know, the word real. Cousin has really been
if you don't mind,
my
great-grandmother is from Kirinyaga, from my mother's side. My great-grandmother from my dad's side is from Kiambu. So he's my real cousin, and I live in Muranga. If I produced my ID today, you see that Peter Mutuku Mutua of Muranga. So I'm saying these ones to dispel the notion that we are supporting some rhetoric of other people. We do not belong to their camp.
Yes. So really, I think that is very inspiring. Now, striking, responding straight to your question. Well, the youth in this country have been thrown into a corner of hopelessness. We have been socialized to believe that regardless of the effort we put in the elective process, the outcome is known.
Or more or less predetermined.
Is predetermined.
Yeah.
So you will find that the youths have resigned. They have resigned from the political process. They know too well that they are going to go to school, they're not going to get work on the basis of merit. That the opportunities that are there have been created by people who know too well the kind of individuals that are going to fill those opportunities. So that it becomes meaningless for you to apply for a job because you do not have a godfather or a godmother for whatever it is. So for that reason, I think people have just, just retired and resigned from participating in these political exercises. In addition to that, we have a situation where the youth believe that unless you have a political godfather, regardless of the effort that you put in an elective process, regardless of how good you are, how, whatever the agenda that you have with the people, you're not going to succeed if you do not get the blessings of the political godfathers. If it is from Eastern, if it is from Mount Kenya, if it is from our Rift Valley or the western parts of this country. So we have that feeling of hopelessness. That is why the amount of participation we get ourselves involved in is during this, the shouting matches, because you've been motivated by something small. They have bought some alcohol for you. They have stupefied you by buying you certain things. They have given you 1,000 bob. Because your gratification is for the moment. You do not look at the future. There is no longevity in your participation in the elective process. That is why some of us will be asking ourselves, why should I wake up very early in the morning to go and elect people who, even if they get elected, they're just going to eat the CDF, they're just going to mismanage the CDF funds. You get to hear some members of parliament roaming around with the people that they are supposed to be oversighting. I am from the constituency called Kajiado North constituency. Now, at Kajiado North constituency, you will find the member of parliament who is supposed to be oversighting what the NGCDF, the Kajiado North NGCDF is doing, is busy walking around with them and dishing out checks. So it means that if the process is compromised, if we are spending $1 million, we will not be getting value for that 1 million.
I think that's why even a lot of Kenyans want the GCDF to be enshrined somewhere else, because we can't have MPs being the patrons and following up on everything that is happening. And they shouldn't be, because at the end of the day, when it comes to that, I'll call it conflict of interest.
No, Troy, as it is, we have no problem with the law. The problem is, the law is okay. The law has separated the functions of the MP from the functions of the members of the NGCDF. In fact, as a matter of fact, the member of parliament is not a patron or is not a member of that committee that is supposed to do these things. So that you must get clear. The only thing that they have done, because the members of parliament have selfish agendas, what they have done, because the court has declared this thing to be unconstitutional because of certain involvements, of certain works that they perform. They want now to cement this NGCDF in the constitution, so that the courts do not come up and make certain declarations that this provision is unconstitutional, this and this is unconstitutional. So what I'm saying is, if we are to speak about the functions, the constitutional functions of a member of parliament, your work is representation, your work is legislation, your work is oversight. But now, you are in bed with people who are mismanaging public resources. So it means that you cannot meaningfully oversight what they are doing. You get 1 million shillings that is being used by a member of parliament. In Kiharu, Ndindi Nyoro tells us that 1 million is used up to the last coin. And you probably you see value in that. But you are using 1 million shillings to erect a chain link fence. I mean, you go around the constitution. Just last week, there is the office of the chief, given 1 million shillings to buy a gate and to erect a chain link fence. You want to ask yourself, you know, some of us have been doing small constructions. In fact, the much we've been able to afford has been that chain link.
Yeah.
And that chain link cannot cost 1 million shillings. There is no gate, even if I think probably a golden one, that will be as much, hyped in terms of pricing as we are seeing. So it is important that the people of the Republic of Kenya should look deeper into the initiatives that are being taken over, because these are some of the loopholes or some of the opportunities that these members of parliament have created for themselves to ensure that they unjustly enrich themselves from the public coffers. So the EACC, we have the DCI, should be very keen on government expenditure. The price of that chain link in Kajiado North cannot be different from the price of the chain link in Kakamega or Bungoma. We know we have standardized the prices. The procurement laws in this country are well known. So we just need to be faithful in the way in which we discharge our duty so that we do not render the youths hopeless. We want to play around with the little money that we are stealing to confuse youths. You want this youth to fight against this other youth so that you benefit from that conflict.
Still picking from where Wamboi has left, Mundalo, I'm looking at 23 seats that IEBC is preparing for the elections. That is both civic and the parliamentary, Banisa, Mbere. There are a number of constituencies and also wards that need leaders. Could this be a litmus test to the youth? Because since last year, they've been talking about, the word has been, we want good governance, you know? We want accountability. Could this be a litmus test for the youth to just show themselves, we are showing up, and not only are we showing up, we are ready for these seats?
Yeah, I think more particularly, I think it is a litmus test for exactly the Gen Z uprising of last year. Because the Gen Z uprising was clamoring for better leadership, the Gen Z uprising was clamoring for better accountability. Now, this provides a litmus test to be able to see whether that rage of the young people will be able to translate into the quality of the leadership that will be elected in these by-elections. Because as it will be in the by-election, so shall it be in the general election. There will be no miracle. Because the question, and I always say that most of the problem of this country has not always been, we don't have an age problem in Kenya. It's not an age problem. And it's also important to be able to make the young people understand that being young doesn't give you monopoly of wisdom. You must be able, there is also what those who came before you know that you must be able to learn from. There has constantly been this attempt to make it look as though being young is the qualification of leadership. That because we are young, we know everything. And I think it's a wrong way to go. We must be able to understand that there's something we can learn from those who've done this before us, like our elder, Honorable Mutua here. But with the moment we keep moving and lumping the young people to believe that they are simply the best thing that has happened to this country and no one else knows anything, I think then we go also the wrong direction. We must be able to have a situation whereby we must be able to learn from those who've come before us and also be able to get the experience that we've gathered ourselves and the benefit of technology and all that to make country better. But then this by-election is going to be a very, very big litmus test. And even before the by-election, why I kept telling you that age is not necessarily the problem of this country, we must also understand that where we are today as a country, these young people challenges that we're talking about, the youth challenges that we're talking about, we are not wholesomely innocent of the cause of the problem. Even we, the young people, have also caused part of the problem that we have today. Because you look at it today and we have some of the youngest leaders in the parliament. So what do young people then, what has been their solution to the problems of young people? Do they inspire the country to believe more in the potential of young people? Because if those who have come before us do not help us in convincing the older folks and convincing the other generations that we are better, then they will also be misrepresenting us. This country today, Troy, has a nominated member of parliament representing youth issues. I doubt whether you know their names in both parliament and senate. And so you see, that becomes a problem of the young people caused by the young people. Today we have a PS of youth affairs who is barely 30 years old. So we must be able to be accountable, and Fikirini must tell the country, therefore, How has this country changed, and how has the State Department changed because we have a young person there? Because it is by the result of what they do that more people will be able to entrust us with the leadership. You look today, the chairman of the Finance Committee of Parliament, Honorable Kimani Kuria, is my brother's age mate here. So how has this been able to reflect on the workings of the Finance Committee? When other youthful people like Ndindi Nyoro, Kimani Chungwa, Silvana Zosoro, we actually have so many. I actually keep arguing that I think this government has the highest number of youthful people holding significant places and holding significant positions. So before we even blame everyone else, we must be able to self-introspect and ask ourselves as young people, the ones who have gone before us, how have they created a difference? How have they been able to impact this better? Unfortunately, when you look at even some of the reasons why the young people are on the street, some of the names that they were mentioning that they have a problem with are again the young people. So that brings us the question, is young the qualification of leadership? Or do we need people who actually have better understanding of leadership dictates and how it should be? And those ones who are in office today must do something so that some of us like myself and my brother Kidi there, who are running for office in the next election, how will the people entrust us in 2027 when they cannot see the result of those who came before us in 2022? So before we blame everyone else, and I know it is always very good and it's a calming effect when we always, as young people, we just want to blame everyone else except ourselves. But we must also self-introspect and ask ourselves, how have we been able to do? Those ones who have come before us, the youthful people who have come before us, the governor of Nairobi, the governor of Nandi.
The governor of Nairobi,
The governor of Nairobi, the governor of...
He's a young man.
The governor of Nandi. How have they... Are we able to see a spiraling difference because we had young people in office? Because what this country needs is not necessarily young people. This country needs leaders.
Yeah. Kidi, apologies. I'm looking at the forthcoming election, and I think it's Wamboi or Advice who has mentioned that you always find that somebody is behind those, so you say, why should I even, try and vie because the big guns are there. I'm talking about what we see leaders do, including presidents that have been wanasimama, and then they say huyu ndiye nataka, they endorse a candidate. And what do we see? If, for example, the former Prime Minister Raila Odinga even endorses somebody, you find that mostly that person is elected. So how can we, as a young, youthful population, all the young people, to change this, such that even if somebody is endorsed by the president or by the Prime Minister or even by any leader in the country, the youth will stand up and make their own determination regarding this person based on his character and also not based on his political affiliations?
Thank you, my brother Troy. First, you have the good fortune of hearing that yours truly will be on the ballot next election from my leader and brother, Advice Mundalo. Diving right into the heart of your question, we are examining what we call barriers to entry into politics. And now one of the barriers to entry into politics is the question of politics of monopoly. Because politics of monopoly thrives on what is called, among other things, tokenism. So in tokenism is that then, instead of letting young people, for instance, to compete effectively, the party leaders, because of the experience they have, the money they have, the charisma that they have perfected over time, when they endorse one young person, it then gives that one individual an unfair advantage. And sometimes it blurs the voters from properly scrutinizing each of these candidates. So that has been one of the challenges around politics, and it remains one of the fundamental barriers to politics. Barriers to entry into politics. And then the question now you're asking is that how do we overcome this? We can only overcome this when we overcome the other problems that my three other eminent colleagues in this panel have articulated very eloquently. The first question is that we know that they say the fish rots from the head. And so when the fish rots from the head is that, do we have proper political goodwill at the very top to deal with some of the systemic and structural issues, not only in the economy, but also in politics? Because, for instance, when we talk about corruption, that there is corruption at the top, and that corruption is devolved, how have we invested, how have our elected leaders, starting from the president, invested their political capital and goodwill in dealing with corruption? Because we must not mistake electoralism with democracy. Electoralism is going to the elections every 5 years. Democracy is going to the elections regularly every 5 years, and what happens in between elections. Mm-hmm. How do you, for instance, ensure that in a country that is ethnically fractious like Kenya, you bring everyone together and they feel they are part of one indivisible nation? And that is why I agree with my brother from City Hall, who has reminded the nation that it does not belong to any camp that is advocating for political cousins. Mm. Political cousins, and permit me a little latitude to speak about it on this platform. Mm-hmm. It is a political messaging that is premised on short-termism. Short-termism because it is calculated to acquire power in isolation, and it does not examine that what would you do with that power. When you start, they say that things don't go wrong, things start wrong. When you start to mobilize politically on the basis of ethnic proximity, chances are you are going to exclude and isolate people who are not of the same ethnic, extraction. And this remains one of the major historical problems that we've had in our politics. As I conclude, mm-hmm. I suggest to fellow young people, and this is work that we have started, in part because of the work I do as the convener of Interparties Youth Forum, an entity mm-hmm. that brings together young people from across the political divide. That one, we must get to a place where political mobilization must reject ethnic identity and ethnic proximity. We must start examining leaders based on their track record, competence, and integrity. Thank you.
And still on the same,
yes.
Kidi, I'm looking at after the last year's Gen Z protest. There were some very vocal youth, and actually they were in all media houses talking about ABCD. When it comes to the demonstrations, they were on the forefront, but they have since fizzled out, some of whom we have seen working hand in hand with the government. How can we ensure this time round they don't only speak for themselves, but they speak and still maintain the issue of integrity, and they don't want to be in the same camps as what we have seen? The political elite, some of the political elite that we have in the country have been in cases of corruption, and of course some we have seen even chapter 6 of the Constitution on integrity that they do not have or do not follow. Kidi.
Well, I am cautious not to appear to...
We don't want to see Kidi next year after somebody has said somebody else, Anatosha, you now fold up your tail and say, that's it, my political career is over.
Well, one thing about the young people today that gives me so much hope is the courage of our young people. You see, young people have stood firm in demanding for accountability and better governance in spite of the very many threats to their lives individually and collectively. You know that in the last 1 year, we have seen unprecedented levels of brutality and abductions and a lot of other things, but that has not dampened the spirit of young people. On Sabasaba, in spite of a lot of state-sanctioned violence, young people stepped forward, and we lost up to 31, I think, young people on the streets. And while we ask law enforcement agencies that they must remember their responsibility is to protect lives. Young people have demonstrated that they can only change tact, but they cannot retreat. And therefore, I think that that courage must be matched with, must be sustained to 2027. And how is this courage going to be seen in 2027? I think that young people have most eloquently articulated what is the problem with this country. Things like corruption, things like ethnicity. They said it in last year, they've said it again this year. So then in 2027, they have got a chance constitutionally to express that voice in a manner that determines the direction of the country. So I think that young people are going to, and young people have also known where the problem is. While we have said, we have screamed and yelled at the president that he must go, I think the weakest link in our governance is parliament. Because of how parliament has historically, from 10th parliament to 11th parliament to 12th parliament and now 13th parliament, have all let the people of Kenya down. And particularly 11th parliament and 12th parliament are a disgrace. And I will tell you why, if you permit me. Look at the question of the high cost of living today. The question of high cost of living today largely, or in part, stems from the question of sovereign debt. The problem of sovereign debt became the big elephant in the room when the 11th Parliament amended the Public Finance Management Act to allow the Treasury, the CS Treasury, to borrow money, spend it before bringing it to consolidated fund, and giving him the latitude to come and explain later. By the time President Kibaki was leaving, remember, we were funding our national budget from domestic, so up to 95% from domestic sources. By the time 11th Parliament was serving its term, 2017, we all knew we were in problems. When 12th Parliament came in, it didn't seek to remedy the problems that were created by the 12th Parliament. And then that reckless borrowing continued.
And the domino effects continues.
Yes. So when this administration was coming in, of course, that problem was there. And this parliament has also abdicated the responsibility of, summoning treasury and dealing and addressing itself the question of the budget within the meaning of Article 211 of the Constitution. So if we had a better parliament that is willing to discharge its responsibility, in large part, the high cost of living that is, and the general state of the economy that is robbing away the promise of upward social mobility would have been solved in a small way. Because they have not. We believe that, and in the wisdom of Professor Michere Mugo, that we must build liberated zones.
Okay.
And one of the liberated zones in this struggle to reclaim the soul of the nation is parliament. So that we must make sure that next election, we elect MPs, and particularly MPs, who are going to discharge their responsibility properly of holding the executive accountable. Thank you.
And gentlemen, we informed we need to wrap up, so I'm going to give you a moment each for your closing remarks, and making bearing in mind that some of you here will be vying for seats. Let's make sure.
Well, vying or not vying, if I have to vie because I belong to this community or not, I would. Number one, Kenya needs to be one, united.
All right. I'm informed that the president is currently addressing the congregation, the International Youth Day. All right. Kindly, as we line up that live.
Well, there's something you asked about. I need to close with that, about the youths who seem to have been moved, swayed, and forgotten. Far from it. The youths in their souls organized themselves in 2024. They came out in big numbers and made a statement. And then they were talked to, their minds were talked to by some people. So their minds agreed. But at the right time, their soul goes back to where it came from. And you see, the danger is
All right.
that we do not know what the youths are planning, and we think we know them.
Okay.
In fact, we must be scared because what they think we do not know, and that's a strategy in war. That when you don't know your enemy, you are likely to lose. When you know yourself, you don't know your enemy, you lose. But when you know yourself and you know the enemy, you win.
Okay.
We do not know them.
Let's cross over to Kakamega, where the president is addressing the International Youth Day.
Here in Kakamega, right here in town, we have 200 units complete, 2,000 units have been procured, another 2,000 units in Mumias, and another several units in different constituencies in Kakamega County, a total of 5,000 units we are building in Kakamega County. About 320,000 young people are already working in affordable housing program, with numbers set to double in the next 2 months. I have said that in the next 2 months, we want to escalate the number of young people, whether they are electricians, technicians, plumbers, engineers, quantity surveyors, architects. We want to increase them to 640,000 in the next 2 months. We have already advertised 4,000 internship positions for young professionals that are coming out of universities and our TVET institutions through the Public Service Commission. We will engage architects, engineers, surveyors, IT specialists, marketers, and other specialists, placing them in housing projects and municipalities across Kenya. Our goal is to expand these opportunities so that by January next year, in the next 6 months or so, 10,000 interns will have been placed in affordable housing program where they will gain skills, build networks, and acquire the experience needed to launch their careers. Through Climate Works program, we are advancing both economic and climate resilience by implementing labor-intensive environmental projects, restoring ecosystems through tree planting, cleaning rivers, and greening public spaces. Beyond the environment, Climate Works also drives jobs in roads and housing construction and urban development. We began with Nairobi-based cohort, and I am especially very proud that 45,000 young people are spearheading the Nairobi River regeneration, transforming riparian into clean, green corridors. This initiative is now being rolled out across the country through an expanded roadworks program, which will soon grow to 113,000 young people, including 4,000 in Kakamega County. Similarly, the Kandarasi Mtaani initiative will employ another 200,000 more young people in labor-intensive works in housing and market projects, including our hostels development program across the country. This will also include boundary walls, laying cabro roads, and installing wastewater treatment plants, equipping participants with both income and skills. Ladies and gentlemen, the Financial Inclusion Fund, commonly known as the Hustler Fund, has emerged as one of the most transformative financial inclusion initiatives in Kenya's history, with a direct and profound impact on our young people. Its sheer scale has been unprecedented, with over 26 million Kenyans accessing the fund, making it the single largest program of its kind. Of this, 9 million are repeat borrowers, a powerful indicator of sustained trust and tangible. benefits. The fund has so far disbursed 72 billion and mobilized 5 billion shillings in savings. One of the most significant outcomes has been credit empowerment. Through the Hustler Fund, 5 million beneficiaries have improved their credit scores, a game-changing development for young people who previously had no credit history or had been blacklisted in CRB. Many are now eligible for larger credit-rated loans of up to 150,000.
Perhaps was the case with Burkina Faso, be a little overawed by a crowd in full support of their opponents. Although with that being said, the venue not quite as full as it was last Saturday for the opening ceremony in the first match of the tournament.
It was total jubilation in Tanzania when Taifa Stars reached the quarterfinals of the African Nations Championship for the first time in their history with a 2-1 defeat of Madagascar thanks to Clement Mzize's brace in Dar es Salaam.
Was Clement Mzize, I think, arriving from deep. Feitoto, they're piling on the pressure here. Edinado's ball in. It's still not away. Now the referee ruling in favor of Madagascar. Clement Mzize arrives with pace. He is a renowned goal scorer at club level. Is Mzize scoring in the CAF Champions League, including that thunderbolt against TP Mazembe will live long in the memory, and indeed in the penultimate match of the season, the league season, where Yanga got the better of Simba by 2-0. It won them the championship. They were 1 point ahead, so Simba had an opportunity to turn the championship in their favor had they emerged victorious, as Madagascar applies some pressure here. Coming away with it is Njue. He won man of the match in the previous outing against Mauritania. Clement Mzize goes gliding past one. Sopu! Wide of the mark. Well, they've made a bright start here, have Tanzania. Clement Mzize has looked very dangerous so far. He's a phenomenal talent at just 21 years of age. Huge future ahead of him. Njue. This is Dixon job. Baka. Feitoto. Edinaro. Gets the ball to the edge of the area. Oh, cushioned against the upright and then turned home by Clement Mzize. The unrelenting pressure from Tanzania pays dividends. Ahmed Suleiman's decision to stick with the tried and tested outfit seems to have come good early here too. Now it's Edinaro using Hussein Mohammed as a decoy, and Mudatir Njue struck the ball so firmly onto the uprights. It rebounded into the path of Clement Mzize, who gratefully tapped it home for the Taifa Stars opener. And that is 4 unanswered goals at this tournament so far.
This was also their third consecutive victory to maintain their perfect campaign in Group B.
Habari muhimu ni zile zinazoathiri maisha yako, na zinapojiri tuko hapo.
Tunakuletea habari